everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a review of the first episode of The Penguin. Now there may be spoilers within this review, so just beware when going to this overall video. Now The Penguin is a spin-off series from Matt Reeves' The Batman movie, which was released back in 2022. The first episode of the series debuted on Thursday, September the 19th, 2024, and will run overall for 8 episodes, streaming on HBO Max on each following Sunday. Now The Penguin will continue the universe set by Matt Reeves' movie, which was a much more grounded take on the Batman mythos, with villains such as Catwoman, the Riddler and the Penguin, much more toned down and muted from their more elaborate costumes and personalities that we've seen in previous iterations. And the Penguin in that story was Oswald, or named Oz, and was just one of the acting underbosses for the criminal empire headed by Carmine Falcone. And this series will see the overall ascension and rise that Oz will take in order to become the more dominant crime figure within Gotham City. And in terms of the first episode, we opened from events from just over a week passing on from the Batman movie, where we see Gotham recovering from the antics from the Riddler, the existence of the Batman being revealed, and also the death of Carmine Falcone. And as per the outline, this episode follows the beginning of Oz's path to the rise. We see him in the beginning trying to connect with criminal figures and people. He finds himself dismissed by many of these people, and we see that in the opening scenes where he takes out Falcone's son in quite brutal fashion. Now we do later on get a bit more depth to his character as we see him visiting his mother and promising to take care of her as he builds his empire, and I'm sure throughout the season we'll get more additional scenes to flesh out her character and their overall relationship. We did eventually get quite a tense sequence towards the end of the episode where we saw Sophia Falcone apprehend Oz, wanting to know where her brother's whereabouts were. And we had a quite intense moment when Oz was being impaled by a metal wire, quite brutal fashion, before we see a car crashing into the wall that Sophia hears and then discovers that her brother's body is inside. We'll later on find out that Oz had arranged for this to be planned. To be honest, it was a bit convenient how it played out, but I think it overall did the job of freeing Oz from this situation, leaving him to go about his own business. And we ended the episode with Oz, accompanied by his new sidekick, announcing his intentions to rule the city. So in terms of this episode, I think if you are a fan of the Batman movie by Matt Reeves and the world that that film created, then you'll probably love this overall episode. It's right in the same mood, tone, aesthetic, where we get lots of rainy scenes, just like the film itself. So you'll be loving every scene that you see so far. And overall, I think the production and values were just fine. But if you are more like me and you weren't as enamored with the Batman film, then you'll likely have the same issues with this episode. This is where we had the same very slow pace, not as eventful really until the climatic encounter as what I mentioned before. It did feel a bit overlong and definitely didn't need to be 1 hour in terms of what actually happens within the story. So you may have struggled to stay with this all the way through. Again, that lack of comic book flavour and energy doesn't make this as appealing or exciting as previous Batman iterations. This is far less a comic book story and much more of a drama stroke police procedural. There are clear vibes here of the likes of The Sopranos, The Wire, and even to a lesser extent the Gotham series by Fox, which ran for 5 seasons. And I do think it's a worthy comparison in terms of that show, where again you're dealing with a story within the Batman mythos without Batman himself. Aesthetically, that show also had the same here, that greyish modern day city contemporary setting. Now whilst the Gotham series started off very grounded but then eventually got more outlandish and yes, at times more sillier, it was also far more lively and had much more energy, and the villains really were far more distinctive in terms of their personalities. Now to be fair, this is only the first episode of this series, but I'm not sure it's going to be anywhere near as exciting or lively as what many people want it to be. I'm not sure how much the slow burn and pacing of the show, very typical for what we see for a HBO production, will really appeal to fans and may indeed put them off. As is also the case in the fact that with this show it's very unlikely that you will get any cameos or appearances from classic characters or villains within the Batman universe. Within this episode there are no hints at all in terms of a greater world. Just like the movie itself, this is going to be far more smaller scale and much more of a character intimate piece rather than a comic book action adventure. So don't go into this if you haven't seen the film expecting lots of Easter eggs and references to Batman or Robin. It's been confirmed indeed that we won't be seeing Robert Pattinson as Batman appearing in the show. To be honest, this is always the mandate within DC television shows, whether it's the likes of the CW series, Gotham or Titans. Batman as a character simply isn't allowed to fully appear on television. But overall, as a standalone piece of TV, I think the Penguin is just fine. I do suspect that it may just be made for fans of Matt Reeves' Batman universe rather than the classic Batman universe that is far more endearing to fans in general. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and review of the first opening episode of The Penguin. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any other movies, television series or any other issues within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, then also let me know within the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon.